All right, here we are. I think this is working. 100% working. Very cool, very cool. Let me do my thing here now where I fucking share the stuff on all the Facebooks and all that jive so we can get it going. We're just sitting here chilling. Make sure to check out all the sponsors, my merch guy and Joseph Chianakas at frightfest4d.com. You can support the channel for as little as $2 a month by visiting patreon.com/HO1D. Tonight, we're going to talk about the murder of Tupac Shakur. We're not going to go into his life. This is just strictly the true crime event that happened. And in recent news, well, I guess I won't do the spoiler alert. We'll just wait till the end. But if you follow it, you're probably already aware of it anyway. But let's just discuss it, hang out, and talk some shit. And then afterwards, we'll do horror movie trivia because that's always fun. So let me do my little sharing stuff here. I apologize for the wait. Hey, Harlot. Thank you so much. I fucking got your name right this time. Nailed it. Fucking nailed it. So let's talk about Tupac Shakur's murder. I'm going to share this fucking link real quick on all the Facebooks and all that fucking jive, and then we'll get right into it. But first of all, I want to know how everybody else is doing. How are you guys doing? Thank you for chiming in. I know that you got other shit to do. Guess what? I just shared it to the wrong one. So aren't I a fucking dumb? So let me do this again real quick and we'll hop right into it. But how's everybody doing? Please tell me how your day went, how your weekend went. It is Sunday. I don't got to work tomorrow, so I'm like, fuck yeah, I get to hang out with you guys and chill. So I'm looking forward to it. All right, give me one moment. All right, now that we're posted on all the social medias, let's fucking hop into this bad boy. So before we get into the subject, man, if you guys want to chit chat for a little bit and tell me how your fucking weekend went, or I can just shut the fuck up and stop asking questions and we can just fucking hop right into it. Give me thumbs up, thumbs down, tell me to fuck off, shut up, whatever. I hope you guys are doing okay. I hope you guys have been having a good time. I got so many fucking cords hanging around here. I seriously got to fucking figure this shit out. But anyway, fuck it. Let's get into it, man. So if you're not familiar with Tupac Shakur, which I'm sure you are, he was a fucking super heavy hitter in the hip hop industry. Been around forever, started acting movies. I think if this motherfucker was still alive today, he would probably be like the Ice Cubes. He would be doing the movies like the Where Are or Are We Here Yet and shit like that. Because in my opinion, I don't think Tupac was like a for real gangster. I think you people gotta pretend or like be careful who you pretend to be. And if you hang out with the wrong people, it will fucking get you killed. And that's just personal experience and my personal fucking opinion on that. But we'll just get into the nitty gritty and just talk about it. And we'll just get down to the basics, like the fucking facts. Let's hit the facts first. The facts are on September 7th in 1996 at 11:15, Tupac Shakur, a 25-year-old rapper, was fatally shot in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas Valley, Nevada. The shooting occurred when the car carrying Shakur was stopped at a red light at East Flamingo Road and Koval Lane. I know a lot of people fucking go there and like take selfies and shit and hang out. And I don't know, I guess being at such a main intersection, I totally get it. And it's one of those things too where like a lot of people do that at grave sites and shit. And people take dirt and stuff like that. It's like this is a real thing in like the collector community. A lot of people do that shit with true crime. But Tupac was struck by 4 rounds fired from a 40 caliber Glock. That's fucking huge. That's a massive gun, man. And he got 2 in the chest, 1 in the arm, and 1 in the thigh. He died from his wounds 6 days later. So this motherfucker struggled in a hospital bed for almost a week before he fucking pieced out. And he was shot before in the elevator. He was visiting the recording studio where Biggie and shit was, and he was hopping up on the elevator or something, and somebody shot him. I think 6 times, 5 times. They stole his fucking chain. He immediately blamed it on like the New York crew, and it was just a fucking giant fiasco. And I think there's a really good book you could read called Original Gangstas, and it breaks down all the violence in hip hop and everything, and it explains way more than I ever could. But there's a lot that fucking happened that went in, and there's a lot of fingers that were in the fucking pot of this murder and Biggie's murder and all kinds of other shit, obviously, that happened and all like the hip hop beefs and shit. But so those are like the straight up facts. But like leading to his death, before he got fucking killed, I remember when he was in the wheelchair from getting shot up. That was the first time, right? When he was in New York and he went to the recording studio and Biggie and all them were there. I remember that too. It's so strange to me how fucking long ago this was. It's not. It's 27 years, almost 30 goddamn years ago. It's crazy to me. But anyway, at least leaving the hospital in one. Yeah, yeah, that was the first time. Yep, that was the first time he got shot. And in fact, the second time he got shot, when Biggie saw it, he immediately thought like, well, he's gonna fucking pull out of this again. This is nothing new. Like he's been shot before, so it really wasn't that big of a deal in the community, like in the rap community or whatever. Not like I was involved, but this is just shit that I've heard Biggie say. But the prior events that led up to his murder was Tupac attended the Bruce Seldon and Mike Tyson boxing match, and he was there with Suge Knight, the head of Death Row Records, and they were at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada. After leaving the match, one of Suge Knight's associates, his name was Trayvon Lane, a member of the MOB Pyrus gang based in Compton, California, or Pyru. It's Pyru. Pyrus are Bloods. And they spotted this dude named Orlando Lane, or Baby Lane. I'm sorry. His name was Orlando Anderson, but his gang name was Baby Lane. I think you've heard me say in previous episodes, like if you're in a gang and you don't have a nickname, like you're really not, like, you ain't shit unless you have a fucking name. But anyway, so they saw him from the rival Southside Compton Crip gang. Now let me get this right. So like, no, because I think I fucked that up because Suge was Blood. So after leaving the match, one of Knight's associates, Trey Lane, a member of Pyru, based in Compton, spotted Orlando from the rival Southside Compton Crip gang. Yeah, so their homeboys saw fucking Orlando, who was a Crip. And in the MGM Grand lobby earlier that year in July 1996, Anderson and a group of Southside Crips attempted to rob Lane in a Foot Locker store at the Lakewood Center Mall. And I think it was over a chain. It might have been over a death row chain, but I'm not 100% sure. But it was definitely over a necklace. And I remember reading that in the original Gangsters book. But so this motherfucker Lane, he told Shakur, he's like, all right. So he told Tupac like this motherfucker is the guy that jacked me and shit. So Tupac attacked Anderson in the lobby. Shakur asked Anderson if he was from the South Side and punched him in the face, knocking him to the ground. Shakur and Suge Knight's entourage assisted in assaulting Anderson. The fight, which was captured on the MGM Grand's video surveillance, was broken up by hotel security, which I'm surprised it was even broken up because there was a bunch of them fools. And it's just funny. If you ever watch the security, it's like Suge Knight looks like have you ever seen a bear in the woods walking on his hind legs? And then like people think that it's Bigfoot. Like most of the time when people videotape, like, oh my God, I saw a Bigfoot. It's usually a bear like on its hind legs reaching up a tree. That's what Suge Knight looks in that video. He's such a monster of a man. He's like fucking walking like this and he's like trying to walk all fast. But he's just too fucking thick. He's just too big of a boy. And I can say that about him now because he's in prison and he's not going to beat me up. So fuck him. But after the brawl, Tupac returned to his hotel room and he was staying in the Luxor in Las Vegas. He disclosed to his girlfriend, Kidada Jones, his involvement in the Anderson fight, previously having promised to return to her after entering the MGM Grand and having her stay in a vehicle. Shakur left with Suge Knight in a BMW sedan after changing clothes and went to Club 662, which was owned by Suge Knight, to perform at a charity event. Now, if you see, I'm sure you've all seen the photo of Tupac, like right before he got killed. Like any photograph is somebody captured in a moment, so they can look however, they could be hungover, drunk, tired, fucking irritated, whatever. But like the look in that fucking face when you look at the last known photograph of Tupac was fear, in my opinion. Like I think he knew something was up. And like the way Suge Knight was, dude, he was a straight up gangster. Like he was and like Tupac wasn't. If you remember, Tupac was a fucking backup dancer in a hip hop group back in the day, and he was a theater nerd. When he was in high school and shit, he was in theater. He was an artist. He wasn't a thug. He wasn't a gangster. And he fucking went to prison over rape allegations. And when he was in there, Suge Knight got his ass out. And I think it was like $10 million to get Tupac out. And when Suge got him out, it was like, look, I'll get you out. I'll put up the money, but you're going to sign to my fucking label. And I don't know how many records it was. I think it was like 10 records that he had to pump out for him to get released. And that's why Tupac was consistently steady in the fucking studio pumping out fucking CDs. And that's why after he died, there were so many songs that were being released because the guy was constantly working to get out from under of Suge Knight's thumb. Meanwhile, he's acting in movies and shit. He's clearly a fucking theater nerd. Like Harlow Scara says, at least. I'm sorry. He went to the Performing Arts College too. Yeah, like he was a theater nerd, dude. He was a poet at heart, and he was a fucking actor. And that's, I think, what got him killed was he was pretending to be somebody he wasn't. And I don't think he was like trying to be in a role or anything. He was fucking acting the part, being a gangster rapper on the West Coast. He got in too deep. He hung out with the wrong motherfuckers, and he pretended to be something he wasn't until it was too fucking late and it got his ass killed. And him and Biggie were fucking homies, dude. And Biggie wasn't like a gangbanger. He was a crack dealer before he started rapping and shit. But Biggie always said, like, if we could have just fucking sat down and talked, like, we could have squashed all the shit, but all this outside influences, the media and the crews and the cliques were fucking it up. And then they're millionaires, right? They're young as fuck. They're in their early 20s. They're fucking kids, in my opinion. When I was 25, 26, I was a fucking idiot, dude. And imagine if I had millions of dollars underneath my belt, hanging out with some of the most ruthless motherfuckers in the world. It's got to fuck with you. And it just sucks because these two kids could have, like Biggie, for example, had two fucking records. And he died before his second album came out. And he's already considered one of the greatest rappers of all time with two fucking records under his belt. And he didn't even live to see the second one fucking come out in stores. But I digress. That's neither here nor there. I'm going to fucking ramble on about that forever. But at 11 to 11:05 p.m., Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight were halted on Las Vegas Boulevard by officers from the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department Bike Patrol for playing the car stereo too loudly and not having license plates. Ain't that some shit? You're some of the most hardcore gangsters on the West Coast, and then you got some bike cops fucking with you. You know damn well they should have got a DUI. Maybe if they would have got pulled over and got a DUI that night, none of this would have fucking happened. But what are you going to do? You're going to pull over fucking Suge Knight and Tupac and give them a DUI and arrest them? No, you're going to fucking let them go. Maybe that's why so many celebrities these days get busted, like Lindsay Lohan and shit like that, are always getting busted with DUIs because they're like, man, this bitch is going to kill herself, and I'm not going to let it be on my shit because they're going to find out, oh, 6 months ago you pulled this bitch over, drunk driving, and let her go. Now she's dead because of you. Fuck you. You didn't do your job. But that's speculation. That's just me talking out of my ass, being a podcaster. That's what I do. I have to talk out of my ass. I'm just kidding, kind of. But the plates were found in the trunk of Suge Knight's car. The party was released a few minutes later without being cited. Now at 11:10 p.m., well, they were stopped at a red light in the intersection of East Flamingo Road and Koval Lane in front of the Maxime Hotel. A vehicle occupied by two women pulled up on their left side. Shakur, who was talking through the window of his brand new 1996 BMW, exchanged words with the two women and invited them to go to the club 662. That's super typical, pulling up, yo, what up? Come with us. Let's Tupac. Fucking follow us. Let's go party. Let's drink. Let's fuck. Let's smoke. Whatever. At 11:15, a white four-door late model Cadillac pulled up to Suge Knight's right side. The shooter, seated at the back of the Cadillac, rolled down the window and rapidly fired gunshots from a 40 cal Smith & Wesson Glock 22 at Shakur's BMW. Shakur was hit 4 times, twice in the chest, once in the arm, once in the thigh. One of the bullets went into Shakur's right lung. Knight was hit in the head by fragmentation. So a lot of the other shit that I've heard before scenes like, oh, Suge Knight got shot in the head. And it's like, he didn't get shot in his fucking head. He didn't get grazed. It was like bullet fragments, according to this article that I'm reading, right? And Suge Knight says later that he was asking Tupac if he was okay. And he's like, you're the one that got shot in the head. Like, how the fuck do you feel? But what's fucked up to me is like, as afraid as Tupac looked in his face that night, when they were getting ready to roll out, it was like mafioso shit. Like when you're in the mafia, like you know you're gonna get clipped soon. Like you've seen those mafia movies when they know they're gonna get hit, but they go to the meeting anyway because that's just what you do. I think kind of that's what's like Tupac's thing. I kind of think he knew he was getting set up, but who am I? I don't know. I'm just a white kid from Illinois who was only born 10 years before the shit even happened. I don't know shit. I'm just fucking speculating, whatever, just giving my opinion basically. But what's fucking crazy is like if they pulled up on Suge's right side, it said that they pulled up on his right side. I thought for sure they pulled up on the fucking passenger side, but that motherfucker is too big to not get fucking clipped, right? And it makes me wonder if Tupac was trying to get in the back and Suge Knight just fucking wham held him down to use him as a body as shield. Because Suge is that grimy, like he's a fuckface like that. It's like you or I type situation. I could totally see fucking Suge just being a shithead. But anyway, Tupac Shakur's bodyguard, Frank Alexander, stated that when he was about to ride along with Tupac in Suge Knight's car, Shakur asked him to drive Jones's car instead, in case they needed additional vehicles from Club 662 back to the hotel. Alexander reported in his documentary Before I Wake that shortly after the assault, one of the convoy's cars followed the assailant, but he never heard from the occupants. Yaki Gaddafi was riding in the car behind Shakur with bodyguards at the time of the shooting, and along with members of the death row entourage, refused to cooperate with police. And as I've heard too, this motherfucker's bleeding to death, and the cops come up and they're like, "Who shot you?" And Tupac said, "Quote, fuck you." That's like one of the last words that is known to the public of what Tupac said was "fuck you." Harlot says, that's what I'm saying. Suge took up most of the car. How did he not get one bullet? I think it was all fucking staged, man, because I think Suge knew Tupac wanted to leave Death Row, and that's why he was cranking out so many records to break that fucking contract to get out from underneath Suge Knight's foot and break off and probably go to a bigger label and like do acting. Like he's a poet at heart and he wanted to act. Like I said earlier, he would probably be the Ice Cube. Ice Cube wasn't a fucking gangster either. Ice Cube was a fucking poet, but he grew up in the hood and he fucking wrote gangster rap, and that's what got him his money. And now look at him. That motherfucker barely raps anymore. Now he's doing family flicks. I bet you Tupac would be that fucking guy. He would probably be casted as a voice actor in the new Haunted Mansion movie that just came out by Disney. Straight up. That's my opinion. That's what I think. I'm not calling him a bitch or a pussy or a sellout or a poser or a phony. I just think there for a minute he got caught up in the shit and was pretending to be somebody he wasn't, man. And it ended his fucking life. And it sucks because there's no going back from any of that shit. So be careful who you pretend to be. Be careful who you fucking hang out with, you know? But despite Suge Knight's injuries and his vehicle having a flat tire, he was able to drive Tupac and himself a mile from the site to Las Vegas Boulevard and Harmon Avenue. They were again pulled over by the bike patrol, who alerted paramedics through radio. After arriving on the scene, police and paramedics took Knight and Shakur to the University Medical Center of Southern Nevada. They were pulled over just a short distance from the MGM Grand, where their evening had begun. So, according to this article, these motherfuckers got shot and they fucking continued to drive. This I did not know. And if this is wrong, then fucking tell me. I'm reading this from Wikipedia. That is my source. That way nobody can say that I'm plagiarizing or anything. But that's pretty fucking intense to me. So Gobi Rahimi, a death row music video director who visited Tupac at the hospital, later reported that he received news from the death row marketing employee that the shooters had called the record label and threatened Tupac. Gobi told Las Vegas police, but said they claimed to be understaffed. No attackers came to the hospital. Shakur said he was dying while being carried into the emergency room. At the hospital, Tupac was heavily sedated, was placed on life support machines, and was ultimately put under a medically induced coma after repeatedly trying to get out of bed. Probably for fear that, like, if you guys put me under, if I don't die in here, they're gonna fucking get me anyway. I need to get the fuck out of this joint. I am not safe here. Because who can you trust at that point? When when the cops are gangsters, can you trust the doctors too? That's fucking a scary situation, man. So he was put into a seduced coma. He was trying to get out of his bed. He was visited by Jones and regained consciousness when she played Doc McClane's Vincent on the CD player next to his bed. According to Jones, Shakur moaned and his eyes were filled with mucus and they were swollen. And Jones told Shakur that she loved him. I believe that that was his girlfriend at the time. So Suge Knight was released from the hospital the day following the shooting on September 8th, but did not speak until September 11th. He told officers he heard something but saw nothing. The night of the shooting, a spokesman for the officer said Knight's statement did nothing to help the investigation. Imagine that. Offers at the time of Shakur's hospitalization reporting having no leads, and Sergeant Kevin Manning said during the week that officers didn't receive a whole lot of cooperation from Shakur's entourage. Rahimi and members of Shakur's group, the Outlaws, they were another rap group signed to death row. So these guys guarded Shakur while he stayed in the hospital due to their fear that whoever shot Shakur was going to come finish him off. Rahimi mentioned the possibility the Outlaws brought weapons with them. While in the critical care unit on the afternoon of Friday, September 13th, Shakur died of respiratory failure that led to cardiac arrest after the removal of his right lung. Made the decision to cease medical treatment, and he was pronounced dead at 4:03 p.m. In 2014, a police officer who claimed he witnessed Shakur's last moments said Shakur refused to state who shot him. When the officer asked Shakur if he saw the person or people who shot him, Shakur responded by saying, "Fuck you," to the officer as his last words. Paramedics and other officers present at the scene did not report hearing Shakur say those words, nor did Knight or Alexander, who were also present. So those are the facts pretty much from what I'm getting, what I'm reading to you. We're not going to get into allegations involving the Notorious B.I.G. or like the investigative reports on the murder. We're just simply stating the facts of what happened in Tupac. And then I want to read to you an article about Keefe D. Now, Keefe D is like a known gangster, the homie from around the way, if that's what you want to call him. But this motherfucker has been chit-chatting for years. He said it in his memoir that he was the one who killed Tupac. He said it in several documentaries that he's the one that killed Tupac. There's a couple other fools who have been suspect. Some people think it was police. Like I said, there's people much more smarter than I am who have talked about the subject, who have written books, and who have done way better podcasts than me. For example, last podcast on the left, they did like a 3 or 4 part episode on this whole thing. They're much better than I am. Go check them out. And then I also recommend the book called Original Gangsters. So, hold on. I'm really sorry about this. My fucking microphone here is fucking with me. I apologize. So let's get into the most recent news, and then I'll read this article to you guys, and then we'll hop out. And then if you want to, we'll play some horror movie trivia. So this headline reads, "Who is Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, and what's new about the man indicted in Tupac Shakur's murder?" Which is fucking nuts because, like, for the last almost 30 years, they've known who's done this shit, but there just wasn't enough evidence according to these people. But I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I have not read this article yet. As I stated in previous episodes, I like to learn with you guys. So let's fucking dive into it and see what happens. And feel free to chime in and talk some shit, whatever. Homicide detectives spent close to 3 decades investigating who was behind Tupac Shakur's murder during a drive-by shooting on the Las Vegas Strip on September 7th, 1996. On Friday, after decades of frustration for those who wanted justice for the beloved rapper, authorities announced a Clark County grand jury has handed down a murder indictment for Dwayne Keefe D. Davis. Many people who did not believe the murder of Tupac Shakur was important to the police department. I'm here to tell you that was simply not the case. And this is a quote from Las Vegas Sheriff Kevin McMahill. Authorities outlined the timeline and evidence they said built a solid case against Davis, some of it built on interviews he gave to various media outlets. Because he's a dum dum. Let me see. So, Clark County District Attorney Steve Wolfson said in a news conference Friday that Davis will, quote, he will appear in court in the next few days, unquote, to determine his custody status and set a court date for his trial. He has been charged with 1 count of open murder, use of a deadly weapon with a gang enhancement. At 60 years old, Davis is the last living suspect in the case. Authorities said this. This motherfucker is 60 now. Well, it makes sense. It was almost 30 fucking years ago. So, who is the man that has evaded authorities for the last 27 years? If you're not familiar with Keefe D, let's dive deep into this little motherfucker. I probably shouldn't call him a little motherfucker because he can get out and bust my chops. Um, he's a self-described hardened gangster, first of all. He was a leader of the Southside Compton Crips when he planned his revenge against Tupac. In 2019, he released a tell-all memoir called Compton Street Legend. In the memoir, he said he had risen up the ranks at the California notorious gang to become a shot caller and was running a multi-million-dollar drug empire nationwide. He was born in Watts, California, and him and his family moved to Compton. By then, he was a middle-class, family-oriented neighborhood for black families. His father and uncle were betting on horses at a racetrack in Tijuana, and his father won $50,000, the equivalent of $1 million today. With the money, his parents, his mother and homemaker from Texas, and his father were a Marine from Virginia, purchased a house in Compton and 2 new cars. Excited by the promise and possibility of America, when they moved to their block in 1965, their family was the only black one. Little by little, white families started to move away like cockroaches fleeing when the lights were turned on. That is his quote. One of 12 siblings, this motherfucker had 11 brothers and sisters. He grew up surrounded by family. His mother died from colon cancer in 1980 when he was 15. That fucking sucks. Davis wrote that in 2014 he got the same cancer that is now in remission. So 2 of his brothers also died, one from cancer, the other was shot in the streets of Compton. He said he first met Death Row Records CEO Suge Knight when he was 9. He said he started getting involved with the Crips in 1971, mostly because it was all the boys in the neighborhood were doing. He was working at Compton College, but it wasn't rolling fast enough. He had an opportunity to sell drugs, and he liked how quickly he made money. Davis wrote that when he went to prison for dealing from 1985 to 1989, he said the time in the prison didn't rehabilitate him, but made him a hardened gangster. He detailed his conversations with authorities over Tupac's death. Davis was 46 and facing federal drug charges, but agreed to speak to them so they would shred the indictment. So, how was this motherfucker allegedly involved in the murder? These 3 other men, believed to be in the white Cadillac the night of Shakur's shooting, have died. Davis is the last living suspect in the case. On the night of the shooting, Shakur and members of his entourage came to attend the Mike Tyson fight at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Tupac and Suge Knight saw Davis's nephew Orlando Anderson in the hotel, authorities said. Surveillance footage shows Shakur and Knight beating the nephew, and the fight was stopped by hotel employees. News of the fight got back to Davis. He started hatching a plan to get revenge. Davis got a firearm from a close associate and gathered Orlando Anderson, Terrence Brown, and DeAndre Smith to go with him in the infamous white Cadillac. On July 17th, Las Vegas police searched his house in Henderson, Nevada, and detectives reported on the search warrant collecting multiple computers, 40 caliber bullets, tubs containing photographs, a cell phone, and a hard drive. They also took a magazine that featured Shakur and a copy of Compton Street Legend, which is the book that dum dum wrote. So this is all they really got so far of what's going on, but they finally arrested him, and we don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, this happened what, 2 weeks ago, something like that. But as I stated earlier, I'm no genius in this fucking shit. If you want to learn more about it, I highly recommend the book Original Gangstas. And there's a fucking super bad podcast. They do not need my free promotion. These guys make millions of dollars every month. This is what they do. I'm just a little fucking dork with a YouTube channel, but they're called Last Podcast on the Left, and they're fucking amazing. And they did like a 3-parter on this, and each episode is like fucking 2 hours long. That's crazy. But anyway, thank you all for watching. That's all I really got for right now. I like to keep the new episodes around a half an hour. I'm gonna get out of here. Again, thank you for watching. You can support the channel for $2 a month at patreon.com/HO1D. I got all that shit in the descriptions and the fucking sponsors links in the description. Me and my wife started a new podcast, a new YouTube channel called fucking Till Death Do Us Podcast. You can go check that out. I recently posted something in the community about it. So if you're interested, go check it out. And if you guys want to, I'll hop back on here in a little bit and we can play horror movie trivia. But I just wanted to hop in because I don't got to work tomorrow, and I figured I would do an episode for you guys. So I hope you had fun. I hope you have a good night. And if you want, hit me up and we'll play some fucking horror movie trivia. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, tell me to fuck off, say you suck at this, whatever you want to say. If you guys want to hang out in a little bit, like 10, 15 minutes and play horror movie trivia, tell me right now. If not, fuck it. I'll see you guys next time. Anybody want to play horror movie trivia in a little bit? Anyway, you are now exiting the house of 1,000 Discourses. Thanks for hanging out.